All right, what we're testing today is the hottest 9mm load ever made. And what I mean by that is the Buffalo Bore 115 grain 9mm plus P plus. This is kind of an infamous load. You know, the funny thing is I went to look for videos on this. I couldn't find anything on it at all. But if you were around before, you know, YouTube had a lot of videos on guns. This was kind of like a forum favorite that you always heard. 9mm plus P plus Buffalo Bore. It's the one that hits 500 foot-pounds energy, and pretty much nothing in 9mm hits 500 foot-pounds energy. Now I think Underwood does nowadays make something that's similar to this that has the same rating essentially, but we're talking 1400 feet per second is our rating. And this is something I really don't want to test out of any other gun other than like a duty type gun. So I'm going to use my 5-inch M&P. So what I want to do to compare it to that is I don't want to use the hottest 357 Magnum. That might be kind of unfair. I don't want to cause 9mm fanboys to cry or anything. So I'm going to use 38 Special. A lot of people say that the 9mm spanks the 38 Special. So what I'm going to do, since we're using pretty much the hottest 9mm round there is, I'm going to use pretty much the hottest 38 Special jacketed hollow point round there is. And that is the 38 Special Plus P 125 grain. And we'll see how much that 9mm, when it's pushed as hot as it'll go, how much it'll spank that 38 Special. So we're going to go through the chronograph. We're going to confirm these numbers, see what kind of accuracy we get at the same time. And then we're going to do a couple different tests here. We're going to go through our gel block here, and we're going to see what kind of penetration expansion we get through our gel block. This is clear ballistics, and it's calibrated to be similar to 10% FBI ballistics gel. And then we're also going to go through our Juggernaut box, which contains our 1 3/4 inch pack of bologna. We're covered by 4 layers of denim. We're followed by 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard and into water jugs. And by the way, 4 layers of denim up on top of this gel block here. And I've always said that you know, there's a certain comparison to water jugs versus ballistics gel. So we're going to actually see that today, see how close it compares, because these are the type of rounds that you can do that with, because they're definitely going to expand in either of these mediums. So let's get started with this test and see, you know, how that most powerful 9mm load ever made compares to a really hot 38 Special. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have the 9mm rated at 1400 feet per second. We'll see how close we get to that, what kind of felt recoil and all of that. So let's see what we get with this 9mm plus P plus round. 1477. Wow. 1494. 1510. 1492. 1471. That is one hot 9mm round, and on this pistol there's not much recoil at all. Let's see how that 38 Special compares. All right, 38 Special, our 125 grain plus P. Let's see what this does. 1239, 1249, 1283, 1261, 1228. That round is no slouch either. That's a lot of velocity. That's a lot of power for a 38 Special. So yeah, this would be a typical 9mm, but not that 9mm. Let's hit our gel block and our ballistic box with the bologna pack and see how these two compare to each other. All right, first up, I'm going to take my first shot with the 38 Special and just see what we get with this round and the ballistics gel. Wow, it's in our second block, and if we can see right here, we are at 17.25 inches. Our damage track here, our wound path, about 17.75, so a good amount of penetration. Let's try the 9mm. All right, 9mm, I turned that gel block a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. So let's try this 9mm plus P plus, see what it does. jiggled that block. And we can see right here, I moved this, lined it back up with our ruler here. We have our damage track is at about 11¼ to 11½ inch. Our bullet stopped at about 10½ inches, so that's a little bit less than our FBI protocol. But if we look here at our quote-unquote wound paths here, this is the 38 Special up here at the top, and here's the 9mm at the bottom. We have pieces of jacket that came off, but we're actually looking at about the same type of damage going on here, just a lot less penetration with that 9mm. It's at our Juggernaut box. We were talking about, 10½ versus around 17 with the 38 Special. Let's see how our jug test compares. All right, through our Juggernaut box with our 38 Special+P. We'll see how close we get to that 17 inches of ballistics gel or so. All right. And we blew this baloney to pieces. That's a lot of damage for a 38 Special. And when we look at our fiberboard down here, this is where it impacted, and this is where it exited, and this is where we're going to see a difference for penetration, because a lot of times when we have a little bit lower end rounds like 38 Special, they're not going to expand very well when we're talking just ballistics gelatin, because they're not hitting something hard. When we hit our fiberboard here, that's going to kind of simulate our ribs or sternum, it's going to cause larger expansion, which is going to limit that penetration quite a bit. So when I make those ballistics gel comparisons, it's with the understanding that we're talking the exact same expanded diameter. So if there is a different expanded diameter, obviously it's going to be different. So our first water jug took on just a ton of damage. This looks like most of your 9mm+P rounds, something like that in that energy range. Our second jug, pretty good damage. Our third jug, and there's a big dent out the back. So that's going to indicate about 16 inches comparison to ballistics gel here. And because it penetrated a little bit less, I'm willing to bet that our expanded bullet's probably a little larger with the fiberboard in there. Not sure yet, but that's what you get. Now let's see what we get with that 9mm+P round, +P+. All right, 9mm+P+. With what we saw with the ballistics gel, theoretically we should get in jug 2 without denting out the back, but I don't know if that's what'll happen, but we will see what this does. I'm laughing so much because this is basically all that we have left. And when we look at where this impacted our fiberboard, that is a massive amount of expansion in that baloney pack for it to impact that hole and probably make, 80 to 90 caliber size hole in this. Let's see what we got in water jugs. All right, our first jug is there's actually pieces of this missing. It's shredded. That's a lot of damage. Jug 2. It does appear we went through jug 2. There's no dents out the back of 3. So what we look at when we see that is we have to kind of say about 13 inches comparison to ballistics gel or so. So a little bit off from the gel, my particular gel. But when I do these comparisons, I'm not saying clear ballistics 10% exactly, because I compile a lot of different data in the past of other different gel tests. Some are organic gel, some are clear ballistics. So there's a little bit of difference there. All right, so what we have is a lot of shredded lead pieces all over. I cannot even pick these up, they're so small. All we have left is about 40 grains worth of lead and a peeled back jacket. So I would say we got adequate penetration for the most part when we're talking a front on shot. This would fail the FBI test because, they're looking for 12 inches minimum to go through an arm into the thoracic cavity. But front on shot on an average person, this would be devastating and not over penetrate. So since these seem to have a lot of smack to them, let's do our 25-yard gong, see what kind of power they have at that range and what kind of accuracy maybe. All right, 25 yards. I always like to see if our point of aim and impact is similar because, that's our maximum. we would probably try to hit something that size, a 10-inch gong, in the defensive situation. So I'm going to see how these 9 millimeters impact. Alright, definitely a lot more point of aim and impact than the last rounds I tested. So let's see how the 38 Special compares. Alright, 38 Special, we'll see if this does at 25 yards. Alright, very good rounds overall. So if I had to compare these two, I'm going to say, honestly, the most well-rounded round is going to be the 38 Special. It's something you probably would not want to shoot in an Airlight J-frame snub-nose revolver, but out of its steel-framed 4-inch barrel revolver, we saw that it had excellent energy. I would definitely fire this out of like a new model 10 current production, or 64, 67, something like that. We had a lot of power. We're pretty much rivaling 357 Magnum. At least, you know, my hand loads are actually about this energy level with 357 Magnum because I use a faster burning powder. But in 38 Special pressure ranges, the 9 millimeter, that's definitely a niche round, but it has a lot of power and it would definitely do some damage if you needed a round like that. Like, I could see somebody using that for maybe pest control or something like that. It would just do excellent, or somewhere where you don't want a lot of over penetration, because I don't think it's going to over penetrate because it's only 115 grain. It's very little amount of mass. It's moving very fast, very little recoil. It would definitely have some quote-unquote stopping power. So that's what you get today between these two rounds. Very excellent rounds overall. Both seem to do great. I can't call a winner. So that's what you get. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.